She was the woman who walked away from a kingdom for freedom. Now whispers say she is circling billionaire circles in California, while Harry looks unexpectedly radiant, alone, at the Invictus Games. The fairy tale, it seems, is rewriting itself. When Meghan Markle stepped into St. George's Chapel in May 2018, the world held its breath. The American actress, in a diamond tiara, marrying into one of the most famous families on earth. Crowds cheered, photographers jostled, and headlines called it a modern Cinderella story. It was supposed to be the ultimate rags to riches arc, Hollywood to Windsor, feminist activist to royal duchess, a narrative so perfect it almost gleamed. But behind the cameras, the palace walls proved colder than the fairy tale suggested. Meghan and Harry soon found themselves at the center of cultural storms, endless scrutiny, and a relentless press machine. Just 2 years later, the fairy tale cracked.
Dramatic and shocking announcement from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Announcing they're taking a step back from their royal duties.
Prince Harry appears to be on a, quote, trajectory of self-destruction.
In January 2020, the couple announced they would step back as senior royals. No one had ever seen anything like it before. Their statement on Instagram stunned the world. They wanted to be financially independent, to split time between the United Kingdom and North America, and to chart a new path. Supporters called it brave. Critics branded it betrayal. The tabloids coined the term Megxit, a word Harry himself later condemned as misogynistic. But the rupture was real. They traded palaces for a rented house in Canada, and soon after, a multi-million-dollar estate in Montecito, California. From Windsor Castle to palm trees and Pacific sunsets. On the surface, it was freedom. In reality, it was the start of an entirely new struggle. Montecito was supposed to be the safe haven. A grand estate, lush gardens, famous neighbors. But freedom, as it turned out, came with invoices. The security detail, once funded by the British taxpayer, now fell on them. Public relations consultants, staff, lawyers, mortgage payments, it added up. Independence meant responsibility. And in California, responsibility is expensive. Harry was no longer His Royal Highness in practice. He kept the title, but not the perks. No taxpayer budget, no automatic protection, no ceremonial role. Meghan, meanwhile, leaned into new ventures, a lifestyle brand, production deals, a podcast, a Netflix series. Each promised to turn their royal fame into California capital. Each delivered mixed results. The biggest splash came with Netflix. In 2020, Archewell Productions signed a multi-year deal, reportedly worth tens of millions. The couple launched a high-profile documentary, Harry and Meghan, which drew global attention. But then came stumbles. The Spotify podcast, Archetypes, ended after a single season. Projects announced with fanfare often failed to materialize. By 2025, their Netflix partnership shifted into a first-look deal rather than an exclusive contract, a quieter arrangement. Some media painted this as a downgrade, even a humiliation. Others noted it is standard Hollywood practice. The truth sits somewhere in between. Their star power still sells, but perhaps not at the scale once imagined. Meghan's 2025 Netflix lifestyle show, With Love, Meghan, entered the top 10 upon release. But numbers later showed it drawing modest viewership, far from a blockbuster. Critics derided it as Instagram with dialogue. Supporters called it polished and intimate. The divide was sharp. In tabloids, every wobble became a headline. Flop, fail, collapse. The language of decline sells. In serious press, the language was more muted. Recalibration, adjustment, brand fatigue. And then came the rumors. Meghan spotted at parties without Harry. Meghan seeking out new networks, Silicon Valley retreats, charity galas, power lunch circuits. Some whisper of calculated proximity to billionaires and moguls. Are these facts? No, they are gossip, repeated in glossy magazines and blogs, then echoed by tabloids. But the repetition creates its own reality. In Montecito, whispers spread fast. Harry, by contrast, seems happiest on different stages. The Invictus Games, his creation, remains his anchor. In 2025 in Vancouver, he smiled, laughed, reconnected with veterans. Commentators said he looked like the old Harry. The contrast between Harry's vitality abroad and Meghan's strategic networking at home fuels speculation. Have their paths already diverged? What complicates this picture further is the ongoing freeze with the royal family. King Charles's cancer diagnosis in 2024 briefly brought Harry back to London. A short meeting, a few hours, no royal reunion, no family healing. His relationship with Prince William remains icy. Harry's security status in the United Kingdom was stripped back, no longer automatic protection. He lost a legal appeal in 2025, meaning visits are difficult, even dangerous. For Meghan and the children, nearly impossible. Thus, the family divide remains. The bridges appear not burned, but abandoned. And Meghan is no longer cast as the peacemaker. Meghan's public life has always been a story of reinvention. From actress to duchess, from duchess to activist, from activist to entrepreneur, each chapter ambitious, each chapter polarizing. But reinvention comes at a cost. The more often the story changes, the less patient the audience becomes. By 2025, her ventures are greeted not with fascination, but with skepticism. Lifestyle products mocked for being overpriced, Netflix show ridiculed for being shallow. Even her charity initiatives overshadowed by questions of relevance. The very narrative that once propelled her, modern, ambitious, glamorous, is now used against her. A woman forever chasing, never settling. And Harry? He risks becoming the supporting actor in his own marriage. In photographs, Meghan commands the spotlight. Harry nods beside her. Once, he was the soldier prince, the rebellious son of Diana. Now, critics say, he looks like an accessory. Into this context come the most persistent rumors of all: separation. Tabloids have whispered it for years, but in recent months, the drumbeat has grown louder. Anonymous insiders claim Meghan is restless, mapping out her next chapter. That she sees separation not as failure, but as reinvention. None of this is confirmed. No filings, no announcements. In public, they still appear together at key moments. Smiles, hand-holding, joint projects. And yet the speculation persists, precisely because the cracks are plausible. Harry looking lighter in Vancouver. Meghan networking in Montecito. Different worlds, different goals. She left a crown for freedom. He left a family for love. Together, they built a brand on independence, glamour, and a promise of reinvention. But today, the brand is faltering. Projects struggle, allies grow distant, public perception sours. And amid the California sun, whispers swirl, Meghan reaching for billionaires, Harry retreating into Invictus, the couple drifting apart. And while Harry smiles for photographers in Canada, Meghan strategizes in California, leaving the world to wonder. Who is writing the next chapter of this story?